Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Heartily welcome you to the Princess Alexandra Auditorium and Unity Hall here at the University of Nigeria for the 195th inaugural lecture in the series. The academic team about to make the procession into the hall has to be addressing Aging PLC, a business where everyone is a shareholder but not aware. Can social work lead? May we please rise as the academic procession makes its entry into this arena for the day's event. Thank you all. Can you come down on the music a bit? On the procession train, in no particular order, we have Professor Chinwe Ukwe, Professor Lawrence Amazwe, Professor Chiko Kono, Professor Okoye Oyoko, Professor Obin Naumujekwe, Engineer Professor Samuel Enibe, Associate Professor Obiora Nichebe, Dr. Mrs. Christy Obikaguna, Dr. Carlo Oba, Dr. Ian Ebisie, Professor Ebere Ibe, Professor Tio Febu, Dr. Kiru Olea, Professor Sadebe, Nadube, Professor B.N. Ezebe, Professor P.A. Obachuku, Professor A.A. Obachuku, Venerable Professor Ikem Okoye, Professor B.M. Mba, Dr. T.E. Ejiofor, Dr. Uche Okala, Reverend Father Dr. Emeka Onwama, Professor Edwin Omeje, Dr. Chris Ibenebu, Dr. Michael Mokocha, Dr. Uzoma Okede, Professor Evelyn Mba, Dr. N.T. Imo, Dr. Keb Ogwamana, Dr. Kechi Ima, Uchegu from EBSU and from Unizik, our guests, also in the procession, Dr. Kelechi Osai, Dr. Angoli Okoli, Dr. Chukwu Mma, Professor Gerald Ezirim, Professor Christian Ezibe, Professor Philip Mefo, Parker E. Joshua, Associate Professor, Dr. Paula Soka, Professor I. Stella Madueme, Dr. C.C. Yama, Reverend Dr. N.C. Chukwu, Dr. Chinaza Rama, Dr. C.N. Dr. Cyril O. Oke, Dr. Ijoma Moji, Dr. Chimezie Alama, Dr. J.I. Wunfo, Dr. Mrs. O.C. Imo, Dr. N.E. Ekwala, Professor N.S. Olua, Professor F.I. Academy, and the Vice Chancellor is leading on the rear, the principal officers of the university, company of the inaugural lecturer and spouse, all making their entry up here onto the podium. And also Associate Professor A. Okapo, Ju Abaradikenzue, Dr. Ngozi Asado, Professor B.N. Mokoma, Dr. Nneka Zewi, Associate Professor Ijoma Igwe, Onalo Chinyere, Dr. Ene Jacinta, Dr. Nkem Dilim Anazon, Dr. Fidelis Ugo, Dr. Chiwe Nam, Professor Ike Onyishi, Professor P.J. Eze, Dr. A.V. Oladuba, Dr. I.B. Uche, Associate Professor Ego Wokenna, Dr. A.O. Ede, Dr. Simeon Dimonye, Professor Mbagu Efo, Dr. Yoko Ike, Professor Awo Okolo, Dr. Chiwe C. and Y. And as they take our stand right here up on the rostrum, all set, will take for the opening the national anthem of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The national anthem, please. The University of Nigeria song.
University of Nigeria, my alma mater. sake of knowledge.
Where the nation's potentials are broad in the nest.
Hail and rejoice.
Diversity but excel on our dreams come true.
Hail and rejoice, for her giant awakes. My alma mater, my alma mater. Noble are thy looks and thy ideals, and great art thou in science and in arts. In all the realms of learning thou art all sublime.
University of Nigeria, my alma mater.
Hail and rejoice, for her lofty plans.
The varsity that is sighted on soft green hills.
Hail and rejoice, for her beauty's sake.
University of her glory, the pride of her land.
Hail and rejoice, for her light will shine.
University but excel on her dreams come true.
Hail and rejoice, for the giant awakes. My alma mater, my alma mater. Noble are thy looks and thy ideals, and great art thou in science and in arts. In all the realms of learning thou art all sublime. My alma mater, my alma mater. Noble are thy looks and thy ideals, and great art thou in science and in arts. In all the realms of learning thou art all sublime.
In all realms of learning, thou art sublime. University of Nigeria, my alma mater. Thank you, Department of Music, for that rendition. While still standing, may we respectfully invite over to the podium here for the opening prayers Venerable Professor Ike Okoye. Venerable Professor Okoye, please, for the opening prayers.
Shall we pray? We pray in Jesus' name. Our Father, we thank you for gathering us once more for this ritual. We want to hear somebody tell us about her journey in the academia. We thank you, Father, that you have chosen this day to honor your daughter, the Professor Uzoma Odera Okoye, who is the only one that is lawfully wearing a hood at this time. Father, we thank you for this honor. We pray that everything that is going to take place this day shall be to your honor and glory. Father, cause everything to go well, that at the end, every cause shall glorify you. Those who have traveled to this occasion, Father, they shall go back in peace, and your name shall continually be glorified. Thank you, Father, for everything. It is well with every one of us in Jesus' name. Father, this is our declaration in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. Amen.
You may please be seated. Thank you very much. Once again, I heartily welcome us all to the Princess Alexandra Auditorium and Unity Hall here at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka campus. And today, as usual, we have so assembled for the 195th inaugural lecture, the series of our academic presentations that have been the tradition here under the auspices of ability to move Nigeria forward, and of course, greater visibility for academic work here at the University of Nigeria, courtesy our very erudite professors. Today, our 195th inaugural lecturer is Professor Uzoma Odera Okoye. Permit me, as a topic, will center on Aging PLC, a business where everyone is a shareholder but not aware. Can social work lead? We'll be preferring answers to this question. And to chair today's event is no less a personality than our own indefatigable Vice Chancellor, the first alumnus of this citadel of learning to occupy this exalted seat as the Vice Chancellor. Since 1960, we've never had it so good. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the 15th Vice Chancellor of the University of Nigeria. Let's give it all up to our chairman for today, Professor Charles Arizechukwu Igwe, FAS. And we also have our principal officers accompanying the Vice Chancellor, and of course, our 195th inaugural lecturer also here with her spouse. At the appropriate time, we'll be unveiling them gradually. But permit me at this point in time to move forward, recognizing all members of the past inaugural lecturers as a team here supporting, our erudite professors here in attendance, the heads of department, schools and institutes, our deans of faculty, our special guests here in attendance, members of the family and community, and all here present. Down the line, we'll be taking greater detailed time to recognize persons individually. Permit me at this point in time, after having listened to the opening prayers and introduced the chairman of today's event, to welcome onto the microphone the Chairman, Senate Ceremonials Committee, Professor B.C. Wangoma, who will guide us and pilot us through the academic session of this great event. Professor Wangoma, sir. Please make him comfortable with some applause.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, distinguished guests at today's inaugural lecture. I welcome especially the chairman, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Charles Igwe, whose presence has added additional color to our inaugural today. I welcome also the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Professor Romanus Ezokonkwo, the University Librarian, Dr. Promise Ilo, Deans and Directors, Heads of Academic Administrative Units, Professors Emeriti, past inaugural lecturers, members of the Senate of the University of Nigeria, staff and students, friends and family of the 195th inaugural lecturer. I welcome you to the 195th inaugural lecture of the University of Nigeria, and the topic is Agent PLC, a business where everyone is a shareholder but not aware. Can social work lead? Agent PLC, a business where everyone is a shareholder but not aware. Can social work lead? To be presented by Professor Uzoma Odera Okoye of the Department of Social Work. May I go straight and invite the chairman, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Charles Igwe, to please set the ball rolling at today's inaugural. The Vice Chancellor.
Good afternoon, everyone. Permit me to recognize our principal officers here present, Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, the University Librarian, and the inaugural lecturer of today, former inaugural lecturers, emeritus professors here present, distinguished professors of the University of Nigeria and visiting professors of other universities here present, distinguished academics, distinguished senior university administrators, guests, and family members of the inaugural lecturer. Of course, when I recognize the inaugural lecturer, I also recognize the spouse of the inaugural lecturer, who is also a professor of University of Nigeria, and all the distinguished guests members of the fourth estate of the realm, lions and lionesses, ladies and gentlemen. We've gathered here today again to witness another academic harvest. Academic harvest in the sense that once in a while, a very senior member of staff, a professor of this university, will mount a rostrum to tell us how exactly he or she made it to the top of the profession. And today, as the chairman of Senate Ceremonials has already pointed out, we have the pleasure to announce that I had some people talking about first professor of this, first professor of that. I hope it's not going to get into you, madam. Somebody became a terror in this university that for being a professor of mathematics east of the Niger. And I don't know what that one means. Whether if you become the first, after all, some people taught us, and those people did not break. They did not break the bars of bridge of River Niger. They still made it possible for us to rise and rise to become what we are today. Today, the Faculty of the Physical Sciences is organizing a lecture in honor of our own renowned emeritus professor, J.O.C. Ezilo. I believe they are there now. This is what we want. This is what we want academic institutions like this to be looking like. Once in a while, we gather to honor, and I honor those. Today, Uzoma will be speaking on age, and I have a way of respecting this age. I don't know. Today, she has added aging PLC. I didn't know that aging has also PLC. And that is why I always, whenever I see a distinguished professor, retired or not retired, of this university or elsewhere, I have a way of dropping my hat for them, because without them, all these ones we call renowned today, renowned this and renowned that, wouldn't have been there. So, emeritus professors on the front row, I recognize you people especially. I think this lecture is for all of us, because there is this Igbo adage that says, when you are roasting yam or you go to places where they roast yam, perhaps that is what Uzoma may be referring to as PLC. Where they are roasting yam, especially the seed yam, and you remove them as they, as they get ready, you remove one after the other, and as one is being removed, the other ones are getting ready. So I believe that it is our prayer, like, I don't know what Uzoma has in stock, but I believe that it should be the prayer of everyone to join this PLC. Even though here, we are now trying to emulate Oyibo people by sending your aged parents somewhere you don't know who is taking care of your aged parents. And I believe, please, let my eye not see that kind of thing. I want to see a situation where we look after our aged parents, and by extension, your aged lecturers, your aged professors, they are your parents. And today, Uzoma is going to speak on Aging PLC, a business where everyone is a shareholder, but not aware. Can social work lead? We are looking upon them. And I believe that by the time we finish listening to Professor Uzoma Odera Okoye, that we'll be able to understand or learn one or two things about aging. Thank you for being very good listeners. Thank you for coming, and may God bless all of us as we listen.
Thank you. Thank you. Now may I invite the Dean of the Faculty of the Social Sciences, Professor Ike Onyisi, to come forward and read the citation and formally introduce the 195th inaugural lecturer.
The Vice Chancellor, Professor Arize Chuku Igwe, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, the Librarian of the University of Nigeria, other members of the management, staff of the University of Nigeria, past inaugural lecturers, distinguished deans and professors and directors of this university, distinguished academics, our special guests, ladies and gentlemen, great lions and lionesses. With your permission, Mr. Vice Chancellor, my request, or the lady is already standing, the lady of the moment. Yes, the first professor of social work in Nigeria, not at the University of Nigeria. The first inaugural lecturer in the first inaugural lecturer in the Department of Social Work, University of Nigeria. And as the Vice Chancellor is saying, is not just a professor who wants to be alone. The woman who produced 9 PhDs graduates in 1 month. And we're talking of quality PhDs. The gem in the Faculty of the Social Sciences. May I start this citation with personal life of the professor who is going to tell us stories today. Ladies and gentlemen, Uzo, as she's fondly called and wants to be addressed, who is standing before you, was born exactly 56 years ago today, November 30th, to the family of Nelson and the late Grace Erachalo. She was the first of 3 children. She completed her primary education at the Central School, Oruku, in Anambra State, and proceeded to Federal Government College, Idoani, Ondo State, for her secondary education. Her family life. Uzo is married to this great professor here at UNN who is seated here with us, who saw what many didn't see and plucked her off even before she graduated from the university. And the professor is no other person than Prof. C.M.I. Okoye, known by all of us here at UNN as the Professor of Impact Factor. Their marriage is blessed with 3 men and 1 woman, Oluchuku, Chim Simulia, Ugochukwu and Chike, a son-in-law and a daughter-in-law, Chimezie and Chu Kuamaka, have been added to this lovely family. As well, a grandchild, Ife Uzosval. Then her academic life. Uzo obtained her first degree in sociology and anthropology in 1989, where she was the best graduating student. A master's degree in social work in 1996, and a doctorate degree in social work and social gerontology in 2002, all from this great university. Uzo rose to the rank of full professor of social work in 2011 with specialization in social gerontology, that is social aspects of aging. 9 years ago in 2014 precisely, Uzo earned a certificate in applied gerontology from University of North Texas, Denton, United States of America. Then her publication history that I believe will interest all of us. Uzo is seen as that woman who, together with her students on milestones rotas, not only in her department, also in the Faculty of Social Sciences. This year alone, she had 14 journal publications, more on the way. And 9 of these publications are in Thomson Reuters journals. In 2022, when we were supposed to be resting and on strike, Uzo was working with her students, and they published 14 journal articles, out of which 11 are also in Thomson Reuters. Currently, Uzo has written and co-written over 151 scientific publications, with many more on the way. So you believe with me that we can comfortably say that Uzo and her students mint academic publications in the Department of Social Work. And we also know that all this depends a lot on quality of mentorship, her travel history. Recently, Uzo went to her file in the department to get her assumption of duty after one of the trips, and was shocked to find out that she has 3 files, numbered 1, 2, 3. Because of what? There were too many permissions, and before they process one, another will come, and the piles and piles has volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. I can tell you for free that Uzo has traveled widely, and I'm sure, well, if we don't do this as fast as possible, she may not be able to stay till the end of the event. As the new grandmom, I also know that Omungo trips may soon become part of such international trips. As the last count, Uzo has been to the United States, Canada, England, South Africa, Scotland, Tanzania, Sudan, Pakistan, Mozambique, Belgium, Australia, Germany, and more and more. And I'm sure she must have acquired a piece of land in Germany where she spends most of her time if she's not actually involved in academic activities here. Other scholarly interests. Uzo is the editor of a fast-rising journal, the Journal of Social Work in Developing Societies, here at the University of Nigeria. The journal has been admitted into the African Journal Online group and will soon be indexed in Schemago. She is the initiator and one of the editors of an acclaimed social work textbook, Social Work in Nigeria, Book of Readings. This text is used by social work students all over Nigeria and around the world. It can be found in the libraries of universities in South Africa, in other African countries, and Europe. She is the International Associate Editor for Africa for the highly acclaimed journal, Social Work Education. She's also on the editorial board of many international journals, such as Journal of Sociology and Social Welfare, Quarterly on Refugee Problems, Ethiopian Journal of Policy Studies, and many more. She has reviewed and is still reviewing for many scientific journals all over the world. Also has attracted and successfully executed numerous research grants from different international and local organizations. She is a PhD examiner at the several universities within and outside Nigeria, such as the University of Calabar, University of Western Cape, South Africa, University of Fort Hare, South Africa, the University of the West Indies, Jamaica. She's also a professional external assessor at some universities. So University of Lagos, here, University of Botswana, University for Development Studies in Tamale, Ghana, York University, Toronto, Canada, and the University of the West Indies, Jamaica. Uzo was an adjunct professor, teaching research methods in Nnamdi Azikiwe University and the Ebonyi State University for many years. That's why you see also staff from this university seated with us here. She's also a renowned speaker and a guest lecturer at many local and international events. And this, one of the reasons she's always seen in international airports. And wait for this. She has successfully supervised and graduated 42 master's students and 24 doctorate students. I believe this is unprecedented, especially for a new department of social work. Administrative post. Uzo has previously served as 2-time head of Department of Social Work at this university and also at the University of Benin. In fact, she established the Department of Social Work at the University of Benin. She has also chaired many important university committees, including the review of Yellow Book 5. I'm sure that no one should quote me on that. She's currently member of numerous faculty committees, member of University of Nigeria Senate, of course, and convener Association of Social Work Educators of Nigeria, visiting professor, Department of Social Work, University of Johannesburg, South Africa. She has also done well in international collaboration. Uzo has currently attracted a lot of international collaboration that's quite beneficial to her students and have also helped to give UNN the much needed international visibility. And currently, as we're speaking, most of our students are currently somewhere in Germany. And this includes African Social Work Academic Writing Workshop, a partnership project between the Department of Social Work, University of Nigeria and Nsukka, and School of Education and Social Work, University of Dundee, United Kingdom, and the British Academy, 2018 to date. Social Work and Migration Project, a partnership project between the Department of Social Work, University of Nigeria, and the Technical University of Applied Sciences, Wolfsburg, Weinsfort, Germany, June 2017 to date. Again, Summer School Project, a partnership between Dennis Holy Peace Institute, Uzoma, Odera, Okoye, and Technical University of Applied Sciences, Wolfsburg, Weinsfort, Germany, 2022 to date. Erasmus Mundus Scholarship Project, a partnership project between the Department of Social Work, University of Nigeria, and George Macmillan University, Wolfsburg, Germany. Started this year and is still ongoing. Then social life. Uzo is a woman of many parts because she is not just a professor, but one who is actively involved in her community. She goes by the name Miri Dolu Edo. That's calm and clear water, of course. And Miri Dolu Edo is the Vice President of St. Simon's Church, Nobi, Women's General Assembly, Home and Abroad. She's also the Vice Chair Lady of Inyomu Munafo, Umwebu Ngo Nobi, and the Chair Lady of Umwebu Chalu Ndam Ngo Nobi. Finally, Mr. Vice Chancellor, distinguished professors and esteemed guests, this woman standing before you is human, kind, and a mother who is ever ready to listen to whatever you have to say, no matter how silly it sounds. And that is the stuff social workers are made of. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, in this standing next to you is an academic, a mentor and nurturer, Munyemi, of course, Mama Ole, Ada Obi Akozie, Miri Toledo, international scholar, El Ajala. Ladies and gentlemen, the 195th distinguished inaugural lecturer, may I present to you the 195th distinguished inaugural lecturer of the University of Nigeria, Professor Uzoma Odera Okoye.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Vice Chancellor, Professor Charles Arinze-Chukwuigwe, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Admin, other principal officers of the university here present, Provost College of Postgraduate Studies, my Dean, Faculty of the Social Sciences, Deans of Faculties and Directors of Institutes and Centers, Heads of Departments here present, Professor Emerita here present, especially my professor, Professor Bikeze, past inaugural lecturers, distinguished professors, other academic staff members here present, members of the administrative and technical staff, my Lord spiritual and temporal, members of the press, members of my family, nuclear and extended, distinguished guests, members of my research group, the aging group here present, thank you so much for coming. My dear former students, lions and lionesses, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to stand before you today to deliver the 195th inaugural lecture of the great University of Nigeria. I feel especially blessed, and since I have the singular privilege of an honor of delivering not just the first inaugural lecture in the Department of Social Work, but to talk on a twin subject that is very close to my heart, aging and social work, on my birthday. It really gives me a great pleasure. It is a pleasure, a privilege I am going to cherish for a long time to come. Today, we are going to discuss the topic, Aging PLC, a business where everyone is a shareholder but not aware. That is what we are going to talk about today. Aging PLC, a business where everyone is a shareholder but not aware. Can social work lead? Can social work show the light? This is the outline. This is what we are going to discuss. We are going to look at aging. We are going to look at population aging. And then we are going to ask ourselves, is Nigeria really an aging population or a youthful one? Then we'll look at Nigerian aging policies and so on and so forth. And so, before then, I want us to reflect. We say older people are vital. According to Kathleen, she said that older people are vital, that they are contributing members of our society. They work, volunteer, and raise young people. They hold our nation's memory and are a deep repository of the rich traditions and cultures that make our nation diverse and vibrant. The abuse or neglect of any one of them diminishes all of us. And so I want us to start with this reflection. What is aging? That is the very first thing I want us to talk about. What is aging? We say that aging is the process of growing older by each passing year, by each passing calendar year. Or we can also say that aging is persistent decline in 8 specific fitness components of any organism that you just keep going down. However, as social workers, we can define aging chronologically, like in calendar years. We can also define it biologically or physically, like when you see gray hair on somebody's hair, you say the person is old. Or psychologically, you are as old as you say you are. That's what we mean by psychological aging. If you are 80 and you think you're 12, that's fine. It's in the mind. Because you will find somebody who is 60 and just about to start a business, and somebody who is 60, who is retired and just waiting to collect pension. They are both aging, but in different directions. Then we talk about social or cultural aging. When you talk about value system, how are you valued in your society? What kind of value do people have on you as an older adult? These are all ways of looking at aging. We also have what we call successful aging. We also have what we call healthy aging or positive aging. All these are ways we describe aging. What is population aging? We say that a population is aging when there is a shift in the distribution of the country population towards older ages. In other words, you have more older adults in a country than younger people. Then you say that the population is aging. And there are 3 major factors that can bring about population aging. One is declining birth rate. In other words, women now have fewer number of children, so you have more older adults than children. Or increasing life expectancy, where because of good health, because of good medical, facilities, or good nutrition, or people now have better sanitation, you now live longer. Or increasing immigration. More young people may be moving out, and older people are left behind. And so such a population may experience population aging. And the question is, in Nigeria, do we really have population aging? Statistics have said that we don't have. That what we have is youthful population. That for you to say you have population aging, the population of older adults must be in 2 digits. They give Japanese as an example of a country that suffers from aging population because they have 28% of older adults, and then Italy that 24%. In Nigeria, we are still in single digits according to statistics. They say that we have just 2.9%, or that we'll get to 4% by 2050. Africa is said to be the youngest population. But this way of looking at, discussing aging in Nigeria is a big problem, because many of our policymakers, they believe that we don't have aging population. Therefore, there should be no provision for older adults since we are still in single digits, and not just high single digits, but just 3.9. But I have a question I want to ponder. How many of us here present who are 40 years and above have one or both parents alive? Please, can we raise our hands? How many of us, if you're 40 years and above and you have your parents, how many of us here that have your parents alive? We can see that. Okay, if you are 20 years and above and you have a grandparent alive, can we see your hands? And so, you can see that we still have people. Because when they look at statistics, statistics are just a number. People just talk about it's just a number. You find that there are people really who have both parents still alive, who have grandparents still alive. And so I do not subscribe to that idea that policymakers should relax, that we don't have to make policies for older adults because we still have single digits. It's not right, and it's affecting older people a lot. Let us look at the policies we have for older adults in Nigeria. We have the pension scheme, started since 1946, it's still running. We have the National Social Development Policy of 1989, it's still there, most often on paper, it has not been reviewed. We have the National Social Insurance Trust Fund, that one is there too, for people in private who retired in private sector. Then we also have the National Social Protection Policy that came into effect in 2016. But I don't know how many of us that will say that they have, it has had any influence in their lives. We have the National Social Welfare Scheme, which I was part of. I was part of the group that tried to develop it. Till date, it's still on paper. We have not, seen anything out of it. The one that we could say that is working is the National Senior Citizen Center Act of 2017. Government has set it up, but states are yet to domesticate it, and so we still have that problem. And when you look at all these, you can see that Nigerian government they have policies. What of implementation? There is one thing that is affecting the implementation of all these policies for older adults in Nigeria. And what is that? Corruption. See the headlines: termites eat up NSIT documents containing expenditures of 17 billion, termites ate it. Pension scam, pensioners cheer as minor back 61 years. What did minor do? Minor ate pension money, running into billions. Pension frauds in Nigeria hit 175 billion. And so you find corruption is the central thing that is making all these policies not to work. That government is very good in making policies, but in the implementation, it's a big problem. And why is it a big problem? Because they do not even know, the policymakers and even the people that are making the policy for do not even know that they belong to a business called Aging PLC. What is Aging PLC? Aging PLC is a limited liability company where every Nigerian and those yet unborn are shareholders. It is not a company that you have an option to belong or not. You are a shareholder once you are a Nigerian. And it's not a company that is about to fold up tomorrow. The company will always be there. And so it will be in our best interest if we maintain the company, so that we will maintain the business, we will get dividend. If we do not maintain Aging PLC, we will not, it will become matters, but it's not going to die. The business will always be there. Aging PLC has a branch everywhere, in our homes, in our offices, in our businesses, everywhere at all in our environment, wherever you find yourself, Aging PLC is there because it is what you do. It is when you work hard, when you are effective, you are able to maintain that business in your space. Everyone is supposed to maintain Aging PLC in their space. Aging PLC do not have board members because everybody is a board member. We do not have board members. Everybody is a board member. Everybody is a shareholder in Aging PLC. And so, for the company to work is a collective effort. You cannot say some people should be working for the good of the company while others will not work. Once there's a group that is not working towards the growth of the company, Aging PLC will collapse. And as we see in Nigeria today, Aging PLC is not doing very well. Many of us are not even aware that there is such a company called Aging PLC. And so today we want to raise, awareness of that company so that we will know what to do in future. Aging PLC is not working. Because it is not working, we have a lot of problems facing older adults today in Nigeria. We have financial problems, physiological, psychological, and sociological. Financial problems for older adults, in Nigeria is one of the greatest problems they are facing. Many of them are financially dependent because we do not have formal, sector taking care of older adults. Many of the cohorts of older adults we have now, many of them didn't really work in very big organizations. Even when they retire, because of inflation, their pension is very, very small. The support is from the family. If your family do not have, then you will suffer because what you may be earning, inflation will eat up everything, no matter how big it is. Then for some of them that are even on pension, they are being owed pension all the time. We do not have a financial program that involves every older adult in Nigeria. We do not have it. The only one we have is just for those that worked for government. One state tried to implement and adopt it many years ago. That's P2B. When he was the governor, he wanted to do, an aging program for older adults who are 75 years and above. But it only lasted for a short while when they were being paid 5,000. They benefited, but just for about 5 months. And they said the money they had fizzled out. So you find that there is no comprehensive financial program for older adults in Nigeria. And that is a big problem. We also have psychological, physiological problems. As you grow older, definitely, your body will become weak. But then again, because people are not, investing in Aging PLC, you find that it becomes more pronounced that when they have all these ailments, stuff that eye problem, all those problems that older adults would normally have. But because they do not have support, it becomes a lot more pronounced. And that is a big issue for them. Then we have psychological problems. Older adults face a lot of loss. It may be loss of a loved one or loss of a home because sometimes they may be forced to move or adjustment to people moving out of their lives. Because of this loss, it affects them. And the effect is more because many of us do not invest in Aging PLC. They also suffer from frustrations. You can imagine somebody who can walk comfortably to go and get something. Now you have to call on phone or you ask somebody. And children of nowadays, you can call them 10 times, they won't even answer you. To just help me get something ordinarily, you would have gotten yourself. This frustrates them a lot. And then there is isolation and loneliness. There is this tendency for many of us to believe that older adults, they want to talk, they want to keep you, they want to do this and so because of that, you try to isolate them. You don't try to come close to them. These are also part of the psychological problems a lot of them face. Then they have sociological problems. Today in Nigeria, in many other places, you find that the value has shifted from wisdom to your age to money. It is money. Everything is about money. We pay attention to wealth. Even before, when older adults are usually people that hold the customs and traditions, they are usually people that chair meetings. Now, it is winner take all. The amount of money you have will determine if you will be the PG of your community. No wonder we now have a lot of problems on who will become the Igwe, who will become this, who will become that. These were things we don't have before, simply because money has taken over. And so, the roles the older adults are assigned to play are usually ceremonial. They don't even have any role to play. They may just call them to come and cut the ribbon of a building. They didn't even contribute any ideas. And that is why we have this saying today. That is wrong. That shouldn't be, but that is what is happening today. When a young man suddenly becomes rich, the elderly becomes, will be at his beck and call. Should that really be so? We have this proverb simply because we do not want to invest in aging PLC. If we invest in aging PLC, this proverb shouldn't be, or this saying really shouldn't be. There are other proverbs that the older, where we had in olden days, that support older adults, that knows that it is important for us to invest in aging PLC. They know that the older adults are important. That arrow that the younger person shot, who developed it, who brought it out for the younger, who even showed the person where to shoot, is the older adult. And then we said, in other words, the older adults are important. They will give you advice. They will tell you what to say. Whatever when a child sees something, even if you are standing on top of a tree, you won't see what the elder person saw while sitting down. These are all proverbs that really goes to show that the older adult is very, very important, that they have a role to play, and that there is need for us to start thinking about aging PLC again. And that brings us to ageism. From here going down, all I'm going to talk about are researches carried out by my students and myself over the years when we have done a lot on ageism. So I'm just going to be reporting the researches we have done over the years. And so we look at ageism. Ageism refers to discrimination, prejudice, and stereotypes directed at older adults simply because they are old. Many of us have these stereotypes. We don't even know how they came about. Rather, these stereotypes were from the process of socialization. When we were being socialized, we imbibed them. Like I said, there is something they call green algae, the slippery green algae. In my language, they call it imiaga dinwai. Honestly, I don't know what it's called in Igbo. I grew up hearing imiaga dinwai, and that is what I still call it. But I'm sure there is a name for it. Why must it be imiaga dinwai? Why can't it be imiwatakele? These are all the things we do to, stigma. We try to stereotype older adults, and we just try to say things about them, because we begin to wonder, everybody produces smoke. Why must it be the older woman's own? That should be the name, and not that of a young, person. So ageist behaviors are interesting. Why are they interesting? Because actually, we are discriminating against a group that we plan to join later in life. We are all going there. We are all going to be old. So if we have this ageist behavior now, it then means that you are preparing the ground for what will happen to you when you get there. And so that is why we are here, saying, let us all join this business. If you are on the periphery, join aging business, because it is going to favor us. We have done a lot of researches over the years, so I'll just try to report some of the findings. Most older adults are set in their ways and find it impossible to learn. It's not true. Most elderly workers cannot work as effectively as younger workers. It is not true. The majority of old people are senile and feel miserable most of the time. It is not true. About 80% of older adults are not healthy enough to carry out their normal activities. This is also not true. Older adults tend to become religious as they age. It's not true. Even younger people are more religious now than older people. But these are the stereotypes we found in the field, when we went during our research. Look at other study findings. Majority of the respondents believe that old people behave like children, that older people are very secretive, that older people are too conservative, the majority of older adults are sickly, that more than half of older adults are always suspicious. Then one of the quotes we got in the research, you can never please elderly people no matter what you do, even if you kill yourself for them. That is not true. But these are stereotypes we carry about. Maybe because we just had one encounter. Like I said, sometimes some of them are irritated, some of them are frustrated because they are no longer able to do things they do. So as human beings, once in a while they will act. But that does not mean that they are conservative, they are set in their ways, they are this, they are that. But these are stereotypes we all carry, along. And this is not good for us if we really want this business of aging to thrive. And then again, what we tell older adults. You are too old to be doing this. Who said so? Who determines what should be done at what time? Some of us even will tell Mama, hey, this cloth you're wearing, the color is for young people, the color is for old people. Why would you do that? Who said that this color is for young and this color is old? And then we use ill health to describe Mama instead of just saying Mama has been diagnosed with arthritis. Mama has arthritis. Who said he has arthritis? He doesn't have, she's been diagnosed. That does not mean it's not her property. She doesn't own arthritis, so she shouldn't have it. But that is what we say all the time. That is what we say all the time. And this is not good enough. Mama is not sick, but suffering from old age. Who said that? Mama can have malaria. Mama can have pneumonia. Mama can have other ailments. Is Mama not a human being? So how can you say that somebody is suffering from old age? And then you go on ahead to say, there's no cure for old age. Meanwhile, you haven't taken the person to the hospital. From our research, we found that many people would rather keep the money for funeral than to take the money to the hospital. They will tell you it's a waste of time. We go to the why should I keep the money? It's a waste of money. And this is not just in one research or two, but it's recurrent. If you read the document, you will find all the researches we have done over the years, that people are keeping money for funeral rather than take Mama to the hospital just for malaria treatment or some other ailment. We also did a lot of work with older adults, and we found that many of this ageist attitude affect them. It affects them a lot. And what do they now do? They decide that since you say I am this, let me be that. Since you say I complain too much, let me be complaining now, because if I don't complain, it will be abnormal. What we call self-fulfilling prophecy. Since you say I complain, let me now complain. And so you find them behaving as we want them to behave. And this is not good. This is not good at all. Then again, because we say we give all manner of, use all manner of terms to describe them. Many of them now, what will they do? They decide to keep quiet. They decide to keep quiet. To some point that some of them may really be very ill, but because they know you will think they are just complaining, they will keep quiet. I know somebody who kept quiet until at a point, by the time the children realized what was happening, she couldn't sleep the night, she was in pain. When she hears somebody coming, she will keep quiet. But when they leave, and eventually they found that her leg, by the time they did the test, her leg was gone. The gangrene had gotten up to, But why didn't she complain? Because when she complains, they will say, you too, they complain, you're just complaining. And look at some of the terms we use to describe older adults. Agadie kwenka. Okenya abrozo umuaka. Papa. Fosengai. These are some of the terms we got from people during research. You expect them to dress in a particular way. Are they not humans? If an older adult now wears jeans and, once he comes, everybody will come out to be looking at the person like a masquerade this person. I mean, that is not right. It means we do not even know what aging PLC is. It means we do not even know that we are shareholders in this aging PLC business. And because of this ageism, elder abuse will usually occur. We abuse older people a lot. You take their bank card, you want to go to the bank for them, you want to do this, you want to do that. because you think they do not know anything. But they do. They know a lot. And so it is time that we all start thinking differently. And remember that we have business. But then again, I am not going to excuse older adults because sometimes they are part of the problem. How will I bring them in? Most of the time, they are not helping us in the caregiving role. Many older adults do not help us to take care of them. They are not voluntary partners. You want Papa to come and visit you in Lagos or to just come and say, no Kenyada Pokwalele. That's what many of them will do. They don't want to leave their homes. But you may want to come to just take some medical treatment and, get some good things of life. They wouldn't want that. And I'm asking them today, why? You are also not helping Aging PLC by not allowing us to help take care of. You need to also help us. You need to partner with us. And in this day of social media, many older adults are also now sharers of very harmful, media, issues that are not good. That it will make some of us that are young to be afraid of getting old. And unfortunately, older adults themselves share it simply because they now believe that that is how old age should be, which is wrong. Let me just give you an example. I don't know who saw this. It was all over the internet some weeks back. First stages of elimination in life. At 60, the workplace eliminates you. At 70, society eliminates you. At 80, family eliminates you. At 90, earth eliminates you. Says who? This is wrong. This is not right. Nobody eliminates anybody. The person that will share this is because the person do not even know what Aging PLC is. If you do this, people now they become afraid. And so, we are begging older adults that they should please not expect the worst. Old age should be enjoyed. It is a time it's just another phase of life to be enjoyed. Many older adults, like I'm saying, that they are also their own worst enemy. And that brings me to the problem of property. You retire, they pay you gratuity, and you go to the village to build this fine edifice with only one room downstairs and stairs. You find that for you to go to the dining, you have to go down. For you to go to the kitchen, you climb up, and so on. If you really know what Aging PLC is, you should know that the best rooms should be downstairs with easy way for wheelchair accessibility. You should know that the best rooms should have toilet, bathroom, everything. You should start preparing for yourself. How can you build a mansion and you don't have any room downstairs? Everything will be upstairs. By the time you grow older, your children will put you in the garage. Whereas you had the opportunity of doing it for yourself. You shouldn't build that. Or some of us will go to build all these beautiful houses in the village. You put tiles all over the place. I was asking myself, why do you have tiles everywhere, shiny tiles? That's you will follow. He said, it's not my portion. Whose portion is it? Those that fell, is it their portion? You should start thinking about it. At 60, you should be thinking about it. If you really believe in Aging PLC, if you are a shareholder, a real shareholder, you should be thinking of building houses that will suit you. Believe that you're going to live to 100. Believe you're going to live to 90. And so build houses that will suit you, because at that time, you may not have choice. They will now put you elsewhere. But if you had built the house tastefully, even when you had the money to your taste, nobody will put you anywhere. Then again, I want to ask us, we have some women here, especially women. What is wrong with using a walking stick? Many women do not use walking stick. I don't know why. I met somebody in the market the other day, just last week, and I asked her, I said, Mama, why now? Why are you not using walking stick? You know what she said? What about it? What about it? If they know that you're old, what about it? They will rather use umbrella. And when umbrella breaks, what happens? You have hip problem. Hip replacement surgery is very expensive. And if your children cannot afford it, or even if they don't do it well, it becomes a big problem. Why not use a walking stick? And in this day and age, they have very beautiful walking sticks. Fine ones. Look at them. So beautiful that you can have as many as possible and use them. When you use walking stick, you're able to stand erect, you will not bend, but many of them will refuse. When my mom was alive, we fought tooth and nail for her to use a walking stick. And if you want to take a photograph, she'll say, please hide the walking stick. I don't want it to appear in the photograph. And it's the same with many people today. Somebody was just telling me that the father the other day refused to use a walking stick, so nobody will know that he is old. And I don't know why that should be so. Some older adults here would rather die than use a diaper. That was what we found in our research. No matter the aim, that they will say, God, take me, if I can commit suicide, rather than use a diaper. Why? And it's all because of the way we have painted aging. Everybody is thinking that it's wrong, this is wrong. Using a diaper, when it's clean, it makes you to go about your business. You can do all the things you want to do. So why not use a diaper? What is so wrong about using a diaper? Some of us also here would rather not want to use ear aids. They will be screaming. If you go where they are taking calls, they will be screaming and shouting. Because if they put on the ear aids, people are then they will see the ear aid. What about it? Does it really matter? Many of us, older adults here, have resisted lifestyle change. You went to the hospital. The doctor said you shouldn't drink. You have diabetes. You shouldn't eat this. You shouldn't eat that. They'll say, many of them, they say that they would rather eat it and die. And you know that sometimes there's an age, when you are at a certain point in life, you no longer live for yourself. You live for your children and for people around you. It happened to me. I know when my father-in-law died at 92. Anybody that lived at 92 lived very long, right? But 2 months after he died, somebody came and said that where the land is, the boundary is no longer the boundary, that his land is now 6 feet inside. But he didn't say it all this while, my father-in-law. So you are useful. Do not think you are not useful. If it's a lifestyle change that will make you to live longer for us, why not do it? What does it take? I remember somebody saying that he has eaten like 10 cows in his lifetime. So they say he shouldn't eat meat again. Why not? That is the attitude to adopt. That shows you are really a member of Aging PLC, and that you are not just a member, but a functional shareholder. And that is what we want from you. And so, we don't want you to be your own worst enemy. Because when you are your own worst enemy, is also you're making caregiving difficult, both for the family and for the society. But we are thinking that there is a group who can help to make Aging PLC a reality. There is a group that can help to make Aging PLC a reality. And that is social workers. Social workers are helpers. There is a helping profession, helping everybody, both young and old, to live optimally. Social work is a science because it is not a haphazard business. It is a business, you have a method, you do things systematically. It's also an art. Why is it an art? Because we use techniques. We have skills, we have techniques that we use in practice. So, what do we really do as social workers? We know that once in a while people fail, human beings, things happen. And so social workers try to help you to live optimally, to the best possible way you can. We try to stand in the gap to make sure that that's whatever is happening between you and your environment, that you are okay. Unlike other helping professions that try to work with the individual, we do not work with the individual alone. We work with the individual and the environment, because we know that the individual is coming from somewhere. And so we go a step further. By not just working with the individual, we also go back to the family or to the society or to the community. That is what makes social workers unique as a profession. And these are some of the quotes we use to describe social work. In social work, we say, social workers do not give men fish. We teach men how to fish. We love the sinner, but we hate the sin. Social workers are jack of all trades and master of all. For every 2 persons, a third should be a social worker, because we believe that once you have 2 persons, there will be a problem. And so there should be somebody who will stand in the middle to make sure that they coexist very well. We believe in opportunity is now here. We utilize every opportunity. We do not see the problem. Rather, we see the solution in every, situation. Social workers offer their hands and not their judgment. We do not judge. We believe we can help. Where can we find social workers? In all these places and more. Social work has gone very far. These are like traditional places. Now you can find social workers everywhere. Not just in schools or organizations. You find social workers everywhere today. We do not practice anyhow. Like I said, we are a science. We also an art. And because we deal with human beings, we do not want to mar a life. In fact, we'll also tell students, if you know you cannot make a difference in somebody's life, live the life like you met it. Don't mar it. That is worse. And so we have these 6 core values that guide us as social workers: service, social justice, competence, integrity, importance of human relationships, dignity, and worth of the person. These are the 6 core values that guide everything we do as social workers. We also have our purpose. We do not just practice because they said we should practice. No. We have purpose. These are the 4 major purposes of social work according to Pinkus and Minahan. And it guides all that we do as social workers. And this is very, very important for us. In social work, we believe that it's a calling. And so there are qualities you must have to make a good social worker. And what are those qualities? You should be enthusiastic like me. You should be spontaneous. You should have goodwill, open-heartedness. You should have self-awareness. And we believe that
check. Yeah.
We believe that every social worker.
we also believe that as social workers, there are competencies you must have. You have to go to school, and you must have in-service training all the time, and so that you will acquire knowledge of theories and social work-related fields, knowledge of human behavior and social environment, and you also know knowledge of theory, of policies, laws, local policies, local laws, issues of social justice and research. That way you can make a change. If you do not have knowledge, there is no way you can make a change in anybody's life. These are the qualities and core competencies we have, we believe everybody must have in order to practice social work. Because again, we enter into people's life, there are certain principles we must observe as social workers. Such principles have individualization. We believe that every case is different. You cannot say because I handled this case the other day and I'm handling this one, they look similar, therefore I should generalize. No. We try to take our cases on individual basis and so on and so forth. These are all principles and many more. It's just the ones the slide could take that we as social workers abide in whenever we are dealing with our clients. Social workers also have international association. I'm saying all this because this is the first inaugural lecture in social work. So I just want to tell us about social work. We also have international associations that we belong to. We have International Federation of Social Work, that is the umbrella association guiding all social workers. Then we have International Conference of Social Welfare. Then we have International Association of Schools of Social Work. And in Africa again, we have Association of Schools of Social Work in Africa. These are all associations that we belong to as social workers. In Nigeria, we have associations too. We have the umbrella association for every social worker in Nigeria, National Association of Social Workers. Then we also have Medical Social Workers of Nigeria. And then the one we belong to, that I'm the convener, Association of Social Work Educators of Nigeria. These are all associations that we belong to as social workers. 3 levels of intervention. social workers come into people's lives at 3 levels, either at the individual level, or at the group level, or at the community or organization level. We do one-to-one interview, counseling, talk to people. That's most of what we do with families and with individuals. But sometimes there are cases that you will need to work with group because of the belief that when a man who has no shoe sees a man that has no leg, he will begin to appreciate his problem better. And so we do a lot of group work with people that have similar problems, where they can come together, share ideas, and then they start getting healing among themselves. Then we also do a lot of work in communities as social workers, because this is where our clients live. But we have challenges. It's not been easy for a young profession like social work. It's not been easy. What are the challenges facing us? Many of us train students that are not able to get jobs because social work jobs out there are not for social workers, but people of other professions have taken over our jobs. And so it is a problem. As a teacher, we are training students who cannot get jobs, and it's a big problem for us. Again, because social work is of Western origin, we are still finding it very difficult to have, indigenous textbook that we will use. It's only in 2017 that we had to come together as a department of social work, being that we are the first department in Nigeria. We had to come together and struggled, and we're able to come up with this book, And today, this book is used in every department of social work in Nigeria, and is a big plus to this department of social work in UNN. We also have, our field placement. We do not have agencies where our students can go on field placement. But then we have become innovative in Department of Social Work, UNN. When I was the head of department, we had to venture into student hostels for practice. We had to start going to mechanic village to practice, and even the market, because we had to just become innovative if we want to remain as social workers. And so having agencies where we can do field practicum is still a problem for social workers in Nigeria. Then finally, we are also our own problem. Most often, as social workers, we still have not realized who we are, what we can do, and the tool that we have at our disposal. Social workers still need to, probably because the very first crop of social workers that were trained were those who wanted to study some other thing and were forced to come into social work. And so that becomes a problem. But we are hoping that with time, we'll have social workers who are really dedicated and who want to the profession to thrive. How can we as social workers promote Aging PLC? That is the business we have here today. How can we as social workers promote this Aging PLC so that the business will thrive? The first thing we have to do is that we need to start advocating for older adults and their families. Most of the time, older adults and their families do not even know where to go to. Some services are available, but they may not know where to get them. Social workers can stand in the gap and advocate for them. Again, as social workers, we need to start creating awareness about the plight of unpaid caregivers, wives who take care of their husbands, husbands who take care of their wives, children who take care of their families, of their parents. Most of the time, this is an unpaid job, and people do not appreciate it. They do not know what caregiving is. That caregiving is the most difficult thing anybody can do, providing care for somebody. And most often, it is not even paid. It's not an unpaid job. In some families, they'll keep mama with one of their sisters, and they'll all be contributing money. And they'll be quarreling that you're eating all the money we are contributing. Not knowing that giving care is not the money. Giving care is difficult. And so we social workers need to start making that noise about the need for us to start appreciating caregivers. Caregivers need our appreciation a lot. We also need to push for the implementation of national policy on aging. It is still on paper. There is no reason why older adults should not have some form of pension or some form of health insurance. Because we know that in old age, you have some health-related issues. Why can't they have health insurance? it's important that social workers can be at the forefront of fighting for that. Then again, we just say older adults, but older people are not a homogeneous group. The problem of those who are 60 to 70 and that of those who are 70 to 80, they are not the same problem. And so it is wrong for us to think that they are all one homogeneous group. Social workers need to make people realize that all older people are not the same and they are not one homogeneous group, that they are different groups, even still within the elderly bracket. And that is very, very important. And then I want to say something that is very unpopular, but I think it needs to be said. But let me start with the one that may be popular. Adult daycare centers are important in our society today. Social workers need to start pushing for that. Yes, one of the things that is very unpopular we know is this issue of old people's home. I will come to that later. But if it is not popular, can we start with adult daycare centers where an older adult can go in the morning, play draft, watch TV, discuss with other older adults, and in the evening they go home? Some years ago, our students were going for field practicum at Sisters of Charity somewhere where they have an old people's home. And so we told them, I told the students, when you get there, tell them that is it possible for them to introduce adult daycare? They just have a room. And so they did that. We did a little proposal. The sisters agreed. And they said, okay, how will people know that we have this? We said, give it to the Reverend Father. Let the Reverend Father announce it in the church on Sunday. And so on Sunday, they gave it to some of the Reverend Fathers who announced that the sisters are opening this place so that if you have an older person, that they can come in the morning and go in the evening. By the time the students went back 2 weeks later, the place was highly oversubscribed. They were now turning back people because they had room for only like 10 older adults. They didn't know that was what people were looking for. If I'm going to work in the morning, let me just take Mama where Mama can stay, play words, play game. When I'm coming back, I'll pick them instead of keeping them at home. And so I'm thinking that this is something social workers should push for, that we need adult daycare centers. This is what social workers should start pushing for. But apart from this, we also need to do some other thing as individuals now. What can you do? There is nobody here who will say they do not have an older adult they know. Call them on phone. Call an older adult on phone. Start, what many of us do with our phone these days is to go on Twitter and go something. Start the hashtag. Call an older adult on phone today. That is important. Call an older adult today. Visit an older adult today. Send money to an older adult. This one is very critical. You have a father who retired as a professor. He's very rich. Is this? They love money. They love recharge card. They can afford to buy 40,000 naira recharge card at a go. Yes. But that one you gave them. Send money to an older adult that you know, 5,000, 10,000, no matter how little. But some of us will think they don't need it. They do. I was discussing with somebody who lost a mother, 92-year-old, just 2 weeks ago. And I was saying, he said that if he knew what the mother was doing with money, that he would have been giving the woman money. That the woman kept telling him that there is no way that an older person, they need money. And later, he found out that what the woman was using the money for, when you visit her, So, send money to an older adult. Do not think that the money is too small or that they will not appreciate it. If you know what that will mean to them, even if they have 1 billion stacked somewhere, send money. Call them on phone. Just I call to know how you are doing. You know, that may be the only call he's gotten that day. You never can tell. Try and call an older adult on phone as much as possible. Visit one. Visit an older adult. You will be surprised that when you come out from that visit, you yourself will feel rejuvenated. And then that also shows that you believe in Aging PLC and that you are, you know, a real member of this Aging PLC. Apart from this, what again can we do as individuals? Many of us do not know that there is money to be made in Aging PLC. There's a lot of money to be made in Aging. One way is setting up an adult daycare center. After all, we have children's daycare centers, private businesses, and people are raking in millions, depending on what you have. If you're teaching French and Russian and so on, the price will come up. So set up an adult daycare center. Will have some tush. If you tush it up, people will pay. You'll be surprised that people will pay just for an older adult to come there, you know, rest for 1 hour, 2, 3 hours, and they go back home. It may not be an everyday affair. Another one that is very close to my heart, which I think people who are business-minded should start, is what we call halfway home. There are many women who cannot go for a mugo simply because their mother is living with them or they are taking care of their father. And when they don't go for a mugo, what happens? They become frustrated. They start grumbling. Their daughter is not happy with them. But if there's a halfway home where you can take mama or papa for 3 months, you go for your mugo and you come back, everybody becomes happy. Why can't people tap into this? It's big money because people are ready to pay to take, you know, just for a short time. And believe you me, sometimes when you are tired, when you are frustrated or you just have a lot going on, you can take mama there for a week. If that woman in her bag and who was flogging the mother on the floor and beating her, if she had that opportunity, she wouldn't do that. Because everybody was just looking at what the woman did, but nobody could understand her level of frustration that got her to do what she did. Because like I said, caregiving is not easy. And so we need to also help caregivers. And as individuals, what can you do to aid Aging PLC? You can start that. We all know the story of Igbinedion's mother. How did she die? The caregiver killed her. If that woman was in an old people's home, she would still be alive today. So I think we should stop saying, it is not my portion. Old people's home, it is not my portion. Even if it is not your portion, it can be somebody else's portion. Let us have an open mind about old people's home. Yes, I know that some abuse, when you read what is happening in the US, some abuse may go on where they say they give them drugs so they can sleep and so on. Some abuse may go on, but some people really need it. There are some children who are all over, they are outside in the country. Remember what is happening now, Japa syndrome. Everybody is traveling. And so if we have a place where you can keep an older adult just for a time, or where they can live, when you come home for Christmas, you go and take them and enjoy with them. Because some of them do not even want to travel again. They want to stay in Nigeria and die in Nigeria. But then again, you bring a house help. In Oka, 2 weeks ago in Oka, one woman who is a hotelier left to go for hotel. The father is, I think, 86. And the houseboy living with them, remember that somebody told her that they can use a man's penis for money ritual. And he went to Papa in the room and cut Papa's penis to use for. 2 weeks ago in the newspaper. That we start thinking about adult daycare centers and also old people's home and halfway home. We need them. Nigeria has come of age, especially in this era where people are traveling all over the place. Finally, let us as individuals team up to nurture and maintain Aging PLC. We are all joint owners, but we are unaware. We don't know. But now I think you have now known. This is because when we nurture and support this business with all we have, it's not haphazard thing. You must nurture it with all you have. We will all draw fat dividend checks. Ask those who have shares how they feel very good when their dividend checks come. It's very sweet. We will all draw fat dividend checks, and at the end of every financial year, and we will all be happy with these dividends we are drawing from Aging PLC. Thank you for listening. Please, I want to appreciate people. Please, I want to appreciate my mentors, my family, my friends who have brought me this far. Because when you see us, we are like ready-made. But there are people who worked tirelessly to get us here. I want to thank God for being there for me. Like I tell people, my name is Uzoma. And Uzoma has really been what, my path has been smooth. My path has been good all through. My father trained me when he was very, very rich. By the time it got to my brother's turn, there was no money again. I've been a lucky person all my life. First, I want to thank my family for their support. And I want to thank my husband, Amy, known as CMI to you people. I tell people, if I didn't marry Okoye, I don't know who I would have married. Because people were coming to marry me. A lot of people were coming at 19. But he was the only one who was educated and liked book. And I like book. And when he comes, he will buy me novel. And now. And that was it. And so, with the novel, others were buying stuff. But they didn't know that what I like is novel. And he knew I loved novel, and he bought novel for me, and that was how it all happened. And so in this journey, my husband has been very supportive. I left my children to travel to the US when my last child was not up to 1 year. But God was very faithful. And in fact, my husband would say that I turned him to Fadam, that he's Fadam. But it's been, it's been good. Unfortunately, because he's an academic, it was very easy for him to understand. And like I tell my children, and they quarrel with me, I said, in my next word, I will marry Emeka Okoye again. However, he won't study physics, he will study social work. That way, it will work, so that he won't be on the laptop all day pressing what I don't know. To my children, Chichi, Ole, Chichi, Ugo, and Jachi, I also want to thank you for knowing when I'm busy on that laptop, trying to do something and when not to be disturbed. And for serving as my SPSS assistant. They all knew how to code because I couldn't pay research assistants. So once I come back from the field, they're the ones that will be entering my data. I want to thank them for that. And for turning out to be good children, despite all the time I was away from the home. I want to thank them. And to Amaka and Chimezie for completing our family, my son-in-law, my daughter-in-law, I want to thank you. And to the love of my life, Ife, my grandchild, I want to thank Ife for coming. His coming gave us so much joy. I didn't know, that having a grandchild gives that kind of joy. It was such a big joy to have him in our life. I want to thank especially Mrs. Ogebuna Moba. Ogo is my first cousin. She lived with me before I had my first baby and left my house just to get married. So she was there all through. She was the one that was there when I was writing all these papers and doing all that. She was the one that was like a second mother to my children. And I say, oh God will bless you and fulfill the desires of your heart. To my late parents-in-law, Mr. Ifra and Mr. Alice, I thank them for the love and pampering and for being my research assistant. By the time I got married to them, they were quite old, so I was interviewing them and I was getting a lot from them because they were they were what I was studying. And I thank my sister-in-law, Ogo Ezakuna, and her family and her children for always being there for me. To my late mother, Mrs. Grace Eruchal, Mama, you're not here today, I know, but you enjoyed me, and I'm glad that you enjoyed me. You sold your wrapper to send me to school, to Mamima. I've gone with her twice to sell the wrapper, and you know when you get there, you don't price the wrapper. Just actually put here, you the person, you go, you don't price it. From Nsuka, when I came back from Nsuka, we went there twice to sell the wrapper so that I could go to school. And I'm happy that she answered Mama Prof before she died. Her labor of love was not in vain. And to my father who is seated here today, Papa, stand up so they will see you. To my father who is seated here today, my father sent me away to boarding house when I was 6 years old. Why did he do that? He said I failed primary 1. That it's not that I failed that was the problem, but I was telling everybody that they said I would repeat next year, and I was so happy telling everybody. And he was like, how can I have an only daughter? And he failed, and she's so happy to fail. So he heard about this school, Immaculate Heart Convent in Ihala. That is a nursery, a private boarding nursery. So my father sent me there. And I did primary 1 there, primary 2, primary 3. So in my primary 3, first term I came first. Second term I came first. Third term I came first. He said, hey, that because it was so expensive even for his pocket. So he brought me back home. And so my father laid the foundation actually. And I am so grateful to Papa for doing that for me. I want to thank my brothers, my siblings, Tochukwu, Ruchala, and Igade. They are probably online listening. I want to thank them for their brotherly love. And to their wives, Odera and Uzoma, and my nieces and nephews, I say thank you for being such a joy to me. I want to thank my uncle who is here, present with the wife. Uncle, please, can you stand up to be recognized? My uncle got a Volkswagen Beetle in 1979, my father's younger brother. He had this Beetle, just new Beetle, and I passed Federal Government College Idoani. Nobody knew where it was. He brought out his Beetle, and they took me to Federal Idoani. And countless number of times, that Beetle will come to Idoani and sleep overnight. He will sleep in his car, and then he will bring me back home during the holidays. Thank you. And then, to my aunt, I can never forget my matriculation dress. I had nothing to wear on matriculation. It was a big burden. And she gave me this pink top with this dotted blouse, with this pink skirt and white shoe. And that was what I wore. I don't think I've been, apart from my wedding day, that was one of my happiest days in my life. Auntie, thank you for that dress. I'm so grateful to my Uncle Nand. Uncle Nand is here. When I was in Ihala, Immaculate Heart Convent, Ihala, he was living with my father. He will come to Ihala and pick me back to school each time I'm going back to school. So he was the guardian that was going to Ihala to pick me back to Abakaliki, where my father was living. Uncle, thank you for all that labor of love. I want to thank my aunt. She's late now, but after my primary 3, I lived with her for primary 4, 5, and 6. She was one that tutored me, and I went to Federal Government College Idoani. I want to thank my aunt. And my Auntie Yvonne, who I know is on Zoom listening. Auntie, thank you very much. After my secondary education, I didn't pass JAMBO. And my aunt said, why would you put physics, chemistry, biology in JAM when you are a science, when you can see you are an art student? And she took me to Federal Enugu and made sure I registered for lower 6. One of the most difficult period of my life. If you have done lower 6, you know it's the toughest thing anybody can do. And so I did lower 6 with her, then passed JAM, and I came here to study sociology. I thank my aunt, who has always been there for me, even till now. She's always there for my children, helping them to get jobs. I thank Professor Umeji. Professor Umeji was the mom I had in UNN. She was our shop plug for Sunday rice. And, you know, modern Sunday rice, we always go to her to go and eat rice, you know, whenever we are hungry. Auntie, thank you very much. I want to thank my mom's siblings and all my mom's family. They were there for me when I was an undergraduate, from giving me clothes, making sure my fees were paid. Auntie Uzoma, Auntie Chionye, Mama Neka, Mama Ngozi, they were all there. Uncle Sunday, all of them. My mom's people were very, very supportive of my education, even when it was so difficult to continue. They were there. All of them. And all my cousins, I want to thank them. To all my teachers at all levels, those that taught me in Immaculate Heart Convent in Hala, those that taught me in Federal Government College Idoani, I thank all of you, Lechi for Motade and Co. I want to thank you people for making me what I am today. My university education in Department of Sociology, UNN, was made enjoyable by special crop of lecturers that I had, all of them I listed here, from late Professor C.Y. Wanunobi, Ifi, Elizabeth Ekejoba, to Ukebu, to Professor Ibo, who is here, physically present. I want to thank all of you for the knowledge you imbibed in me. But I want to thank somebody specially, because without him, I will not be here. And that is Professor D.S.O. Bikeze. Professor Bikeze is the architect of this academic journey. He supervised my undergraduate, my master's, and my PhD. He was the one that put me to, I didn't know what gerontology or aging is, but Professor Bikeze was the one that insisted I should go into aging. But then again, I never studied social work. We didn't like social work. We saw social work as a place where people come for people that are old in the ministry, where they come to do whatever. And so Professor Bikeze, on one rainy morning, I won't forget that day, he came to my house and told my husband that the department is looking for assistant lecturer, graduate assistant, that since I am the best graduating student, that he wants me to apply, but that there is a catch. The catch is that I'm applying to social work and I'm going to do a master's in social work. I think that's one of the saddest days of my life. I cried because I told him, what am I going to social work to do? And in that his calm voice, what did he say? He said, Uzo, sociology is full. For the first time, some of these books that I quote, for the first time I went into Boston College Library and saw all these books. And I'm so grateful for Prof for all the opportunity he gave me. He taught me research methodology and made me teach research methodology, taught me how to do research. It was from Prof, my students, let me now tell you the secret. It was from Prof I learned that before you write, you must bring 100 journal articles that are not up to 10 years. He was the one that started it though, it wasn't me. So that's how I learned. And he made the sacrifice for me. He was supposed to go to Botswana or Lesotho for sabbatical. But I was supposed to do a defense. And he was supposed to travel that day. He shifted his flight by one day and left the next day after my PhD defense. And so Professor Bikeze has been really there for me all these years. There are other lecturers. Was also there for me. He sent me on my first workshop. I also want to thank colleagues in the Department of Sociology then, Dr. Chumeze Dimma, who helped me with Anthropology 102, where he taught me how to pronounce Australopithecus and Pithecanthropus. It was so difficult then, but he taught me how to do that. I want to thank Professor J. Okebono. Okebono was somebody I met by chance. We came to departmental board meeting. I was just sitting beside him, and he looked through my note and said, this small girl, are you in this department? I said, yes. And from then on, each time I write a term paper, he's the one that will collect it, he will read it, and he will give me materials to write my term papers until I graduated. Prof, thank you so much for being there for me. We had a lot of non-academic academic staff in the department who were there for us, especially Daddy Anthony Ihuoma. Mr. Ihuoma will be the one that will go and collect your result. Write it and send it as letter to your parents so that these are your grades. He was doing that every term. And so with that, I don't have to come to Nsukka to know my result because my result will always come from Mr. Ihuoma. Daddy, thank you so much for that. For my Fulbright Fellowship in Boston College, I want to thank all those who helped me. Professor Regina O'Grady, Professor Kevin Mahoney, Professor Tan, and the person who taught me how to do PowerPoint. I have never done PowerPoint in my life, but Professor Kwasi taught me how to do PowerPoint. I say thank you. And for all the others, I say thank you for being there for me. I thank the NUC for sending me to University of North Texas, where I went and did a diploma in social gerontology. I thank University of British Columbia, Vancouver, for giving me a fellowship in 2020, though coronavirus cut it short, but I thank them for that opportunity. And I thank Professor Uzanuncha for also sending me to York University and for all the collaboration we did in the University of Benin. I thank the staff and students of University of Benin for their love for the 2 years and 2.5 years I was there setting up the department. I also want to thank University of Applied Sciences Germany for the opportunity they gave me with the collaboration. And many of our students have benefited and many more are still going to benefit from that exercise. I want to thank Elizabeth Omoluabi, who gave me opportunity to go for my first international conference in South Africa on aging. And there I met a lot of people who grew my collaboration to date. I want to thank members of the social work family in Nigeria, a lot of them, and social work family in Africa. I thank all of you, and I want to thank my classmates in Federal Government College Idoani, the class of 84. All of you have been wonderful. Many of them sponsored this program today. And I want to also thank my classmates in class of 89. I thank you. And I want to appreciate my friends, my confidants, my sisters from another mother. Ifeoma Echezona, Nkechi Mechiego, Ngozi Chukwu, Eko Yoko, Nkechi Onyenehu, Sylvia Ago, Ifeoma Ezon, and Nkiru Warfare. You know yourselves. Thank you so much for even being mothers to my children when I'm not around. I thank all my students for being my pillar. That Professor Okoye is here today is because of the kind of students she has. I thank my students so much. I thank members of my research team that you have all helped me. All my former MSc, PhD students, thank you so much. I also want to thank members of the Inaugural Lecture Planning Committee. Your tireless meeting, everything you have done to make sure that today is a reality. I thank you. And for the students in Nnamdi Azikiwe University and Ebonyi State University where I teach, thank you very much for allowing me to teach you. And for all those who read this lecture, multiple times we had to write it and you have to do corrections, looking at the slides and so on. I thank you all. I thank the chairman of Senate Ceremonial for allowing me to disturb him countless number of times, with all the phone calls. And to the Vice Chancellor of University of Nigeria and Nsukka for being here present. I know he has a lot of things to do, but he is here present. I want to thank him. And for you seated here, I thank you. And then for the people on Zoom, There are so many of them on Zoom that I cannot even begin to call them. But I saw you, I saw all of you, and I want to thank you, my Zoom family. Thank you so much for taking time. Some of you didn't sleep because 1 a.m. is like 4 a.m. in some places 5, 6, or even 7. I know that you all are awake just to listen to me. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to this lecture. I appreciate you all, and I say may God bless you all. And before I end, I have just one song. I don't know why the song is coming to my mind. It's just a short song. It said, I have a joy in my heart. It is flowing like a river. I will praise the Lord with thanksgiving and love. I have a joy in my heart. It is flowing like a river. I will praise the Lord with thanksgiving and joy. I have a joy in my heart. It is flowing like a river. I will praise the Lord with thanksgiving and joy. Thank you so much.
We pray now. I have a joy in my heart. It's flowing like a river. I will praise the Lord with thanksgiving.
Oh, thank you very, very much. She blew 3 microphones, 2 standing ovations. Just one more thing, and there's song. Look, may I invite Professor Mrs. Uchenzewi to keep to our agreement. Or do I bring the microphone to you? You can do it from there.
Our inaugural lecturer told us that she's giving this lecture on her birthday. So it is only proper that we sing a birthday song to celebrate her. I'm sure the band will assist me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
I'm 5'6" today.
She is 5'6" today. She is 5'6". She is 5'6". She is 5'6" today. May God go to you. Many more years to you. Many more years.
She has 4 more years to join us on the other side. Plenty of time.
It's not on this other side. It's on the 6th floor, they call it. On the 6th floor. Okay. So thank you. Please, we'll take the Vice Chancellor's... well, I think the Vice Chancellor will make presentations on behalf of the university and thereafter give his post-lecture comments.
I see. Again, resting on the existing protocol, have been requested by the chairman of the Senate Ceremonials Committee to perform this duty. First of all, Ozo, you've done very well today. You've been able to show us that aging is something that we should not fear. That is a big business. But the one I don't know whether I will agree with is that if we have a bully no okay. Okay, okay, get that. Because even the elders, those elders will advise you. And that is part of the assurance. But first of all, let me present, before I continue with my speech, let me present this certificate of presentation. Please frame it and hang it somewhere in your sitting room or in your study, showing that you've delivered this day an inaugural lecture to this audience of academics here at the University of Nigeria. I've also been requested by the ceremonials committees to present this plaque to you to commemorate this day of your presentation. Also, I also know that you are being a social scientist, and you've acknowledged that man generally is a social person. I know you have a lot of friends. You make a lot of friends, you and CMI. Many of them are not here today. Many are on Zoom, but they will also want to have a copy of this very good lecture. I believe that we must have all enjoyed this lecture. Your friends will be coming. You are academic. Don't worry. Today, just rest. Today, you are our beautiful bride. We present this to you so that you present them to your friends, your colleagues, and even those that witness this lecture on Zoom. They will want to have a copy. But like I said the other day, I'm presenting this, and I think there are about 50 copies of the lecture. And I will say, no, you can now sit down. We don't want to stress you today. You've already stressed yourself. I know what it takes to write an inaugural lecture. And I know your expectations. I'm sure you didn't sleep last night. You'll be wondering whether the hall will be filled up or not. You can see that the hall is filled up. Aging PLC. We're all shareholders, and I'm beginning to understand what aging is all about. You know, initially, I think I may have to correct myself that this old people's home, some people take their parents there and abandon them there, which is not part of what we are as a people. You've been able to integrate what it looks like in the West and what it should look like in our own society. Of course, I don't have aged people again. My father is gone, my mother is gone. So maybe I'll be thinking about other relations. But myself, of course I'm aging. But that was why I made that announcement initially, that I should not be abandoned in old people's home. My children should be able to look after me. If they can't, they should provide a way of looking after me. When my parents were alive, for those, I don't know your own background, when my mother was alive, my mother just died on Christmas Day 2009. Each time I give her money, I call my children, please come and see that you should give me money when I grow old. Don't just because I'm a professor say you abandon me. You will not abandon me because I will not be happy. One even told me once that they were misusing the milk in our kitchen, and I told them, well, be doing it. When I come to your houses when you grow old, in fact, I'll be drinking 1 carton of milk a day. They said, One ran to the mother and said, Daddy said he will be drinking a carton of milk. I'll be hiding it below the bed so that Daddy will not see it. But you know, so also, from your lecture, I think, because I'm the vice chancellor of this university, I look at everything from the perspective of having a community here. Omunna. This place is our Omunna. My respective club members, senior staff club members, will bear me witness that we are of the same family, the same Omunna here. If you don't know what Omunna means, go and verify. There's one thing you do for us. I'm happy that they are talking about 56, which means you are still coming up. There must be an old people's home here on campus. We can't be talking about kindergarten, nursery every time. Let's think in another form. So that in the morning, I don't have aged parents again, but somebody reminded me, former inaugural lecturer reminded me here that what about myself? I want a situation, and some of my children are becoming lecturers. I want a situation where in future, if I come with my walking stick, because I will definitely come with walking stick, in the morning, if they are leaving, they will take me somewhere. In the afternoon, while they are going back home, they will pick me. They will pick me. And so that's the kind of thing we are envisaging. That not abandoning me there, because I wouldn't want to be abandoned in an old people's home. And I'm sure that is the prayer of every other person here. So maybe you will help us develop an old people's home here on campus. I believe the Senate and Council of University of Nigeria would always approve that anytime we bring that proposal to them. I want to thank you. Because it will not only, improve your name or your outlook, but it also improve the IGR of University of Nigeria. They said we should go and look out. We should look out for money to be. We've gone beyond the OP. Days are gone when we were looking beyond the OP. So these days we are left without anything. You have to look for money if you want to exist like as a campus. You have to look for your own money. So, Professor Okoye, you have to help us look beyond our immediate vicinity by establishing an old people's home here within University of Nigeria. We are trained people from social work. We have a lot of them. Today at Emeritus Professor J.O.C. Zilo lecture, somebody was talking about getting our graduates employed. That even though we don't have all these white collar jobs existing at the government level, but there are still jobs to be done. If these people are trained, all these people clapping today, I'm sure there are a lot of work for them to do at the old people's home. So I want to thank you on behalf of the university for a well-delivered lecture. Thank you. And I also want to thank your spouse and your Amy. I saw it all. And I know that sometimes the women say behind every successful man, there must be a woman. Of course, I asked them, what about all those people that they normally put on stake? They also have wives. Put on stake for firing squad. But it's not our portion, like the church people will say. But what I'm trying to say here is that behind every successful woman, there must be a man supporting all these. I happen to be a witness to everything that I know when you went for Fulbright scholarship. And it's only a man like your Amy that will. And then when I look at Amy, and it's only when I look at someone, I look at Jachi now. I said, Jachi, one of these days I saw him at the lodge, and I said, Jachi, so you are now such a big, he's very robust. And I said, Jachi, so you are now a full-fledged man. So I want to thank both of you. That's what relationship is all about. If you are thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor. May I make the following announcements? The 195th inaugural lecturer has requested that you join her and her family for lunch at Margaret Epo Refectory, our convocation arena. Uzo is a particularly lucky person because all that convocation she's the first person to benefit from the convocation upgrade of Epo Refectory. So the reception will be at Margaret Epo Refectory with all the glare. And next, the 196th inaugural lecturer would be Professor Christopher Bismarck Eke of the Faculty of Medical Sciences. And his topic is Pediatric Gastrointestinal Endoscopy and Optimal Child Health in Nigeria. Challenges and prospects of visualizing the gut in a developing economy. Pediatric gastrointestinal endoscopy and optimal child health in Nigeria. Challenges and prospects of visualizing the gut in a developing economy. And his date is Thursday, December the 7th, 2023. And that's at the Moot Court or the Lady Mary Odele Auditorium at University of Nigeria, Enugu campus. That's it for the announcement. The 195th inaugural lecturer did a brilliant job of thanking virtually everybody who is here, including those who joined via Zoom. Let me announce that at its peak, we had about 212 people who joined via Zoom. So this is a particularly well-attended inaugural lecture. Imagine additional 200 people in the hall, and I'm sure some people attended at Epo Refectory too. Some people are waiting, as always, for the other side of it. And so I thank everyone who has contributed to make this a brilliant, beautiful, and colorful inaugural lecture. We didn't expect anything less, as a matter of fact. The topic was interesting, enticing. The lecturer is in social work. They have this way of connecting people socially. And on that day, people will come from all the nooks and crannies of the university to attend. She also pulled her family from far and near to come and listen to her on her day of glory. So thank you, everyone. The past inaugural lecturers, I'm sure you got the group recognitions. Time doesn't allow the individual names to be called out. Staff of the Faculty of the Social Sciences, especially staff of the Department of Social Work. You made this column of the hall as colorful and as brilliant as it could be. The students are here in their numbers to cheer her up, to learn quite a bit, and to learn the tradition of the inaugural lecture. So we thank you immensely, the great lions and lionesses. We thank you greatly for being here and staying to the very end. I think the lecture was quite interesting. Let me single out my own constituency for recognition. As you know, talking about Aging PLC, the Senior Staff Club is one place where we treat our elders like royalty. We treat them like royalty. That's what they are. And so at the risk of sounding very biased, let me recognize Emeritus Professor Sam Onyege, one of the earliest callers at today's inaugural, for an applause. Professor AOE Animalo, please, an applause for him. Emeritus Professor Animalo, that's correct. Emeritus Professor Mazi Okoro Ijoma, please, an applause for Okoro Ijoma. Uguaro. Professor E.I. Ibo is also in that class. And Professor A.C. Anyanwu is in that category. And I have the privilege of referring to them as my friends, if you know what I'm talking about. And so thank you for showing up. It's reassuring to have you. It means that what we do here is not as boring as some people think it is. Thank you very, very much. That's the vote of thanks done. I don't know if I've left out anybody. The technical crew, some of you came from out of town, but I heard the Zoom connectivity was as strong as it could be, which allowed that number of people to connect and stay connected. When we had that technical hitch, you were on top of your game and you got it sorted out. So I appreciate you for coming, and do come again. I hope you're not as expensive as you look, so do come from time to time. I think that's it, everyone. Thank you very much. If you are going to EPOREF, bon appetit. The principal officers, I know you're itching to go back to your work. Thanks also for finding time to come and support the Vice Chancellor at today's inaugural. The chairman, sir, if I have your permission, may I invite the music department to do preferably the second stanza of the national anthem. And right after that, we'll take the recession. The music department, please. While you're standing, the Vice Chancellor and the rest of the principal officers will leave the hall. The recession, please.
Thank you.